Today I'm going to show you how to lace a corset. This is the corset we're going to use, and this is our mannequin. The first thing to do is to place your corset onto your mannequin, and I'll be holding mine in place using a soft pair of clothes pegs just to hold it up. Now, you're obviously going to be lacing onto a person in all likelihood, so the easiest way to do this is to ask the person who's having their corset laced up to hold the corset around their waist so that you've got a nice firm lacing structure to work with. Now, the second thing to do is to count how many holes you have on the back of your corset. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, an odd number. Now, this will show us how to start our corset off. For an odd number of laces, you start threading from the inside to the outside. For an even number of laces, the opposite way round, from the outside through the hole to the inside. The next thing to do is to take your ribbon and make sure that you've found the centre of the ribbon so that you'll have an even amount on both sides. Now, because we have too much here to give enough space for the person to stand inside, it doesn't matter if it's slightly uneven. So, there is the centre line, and we will start to lace our corset from here. So, with our odd number, we're going to start from the inside to the outside. And the last thing you want to do is to lace your corset too tightly from the top. What you need to do is to make sure that you have drawn it firm, but not tightened. We'll do the tightening at the end. So, here we go. That is our first layer. Now, as you can see, I've laced both sides from the inside out. The next thing to do is to take the left hand ribbon, find the end, and lace it from the outside in on the second hole down from the top on the right hand side. Pull that right the way through. The more you lace, the more secure this will become. Here we go. So then we take the right hand ribbon and do the same thing the opposite way round. So from the outside in, second hole down on the left hand side. As you're going along, you want to make sure that you've flattened the ribbon as you've laced it. It will be very difficult to go back and sort out any twists like this. So it's very important from the very top that you start by doing that. And see, there we have a nice flat corset lacing. So that's our first cross. We're going to work that all the way down to the bottom. So, again, starting on the left hand side, you'll notice a theme here, always starting on the left where you started that way from the top. Thread it through the third hole down on the right hand side, again from the back to the front. Once you've started in a certain way, you should continue all the way down that way. And then the right hand side, and again, third hole down, left hand side from the outside in. Now once you've had a few practices at this, it won't take very long at all. There we go. Now, with each layer, you can gently tighten, just so that it's taut. It doesn't need to be drawn in or oh, see, there we go. That's what we want to sort out before we go further down. We've got a twist in our ribbon there. So just loosen it off, twist it round, and then pull it back through again. So that's our second layer done. Again, just tightening so that it's taut, just very gently. Now, when you're lacing a corset, it's important to remember that the person who's wearing it is likely to be wearing it for quite a long time, especially since these are bridal corsets we've got here. So, you want to make sure that it's tight enough to be supportive, particularly if you've got a larger lady, but not so tight as to make eating or standing uncomfortable. And the best way to do that is to make sure that you've got pressure in all the right places. So you may well find that the most comfortable thing to do is to tighten more at the top and the bottom than in the middle. Now what I'm doing here is a very traditional crossover type corset lacing, and it's not the only way to lace a corset, it just happens to be the one that I've chosen to show you today. So here we go, that's our third step done. One more to go and then I will show you how to tie off. So very much like lacing a pair of shoes, there's a number of different ways that you can do this. So I'll show you this way first, and then later on in the series I'll show you a few other different ways to do this too. I've tried to choose quite a bold ribbon so that you can see the moves that I'm making with the lace. I'm using a double-sided ribbon here, simply because then it doesn't matter which way up out of the eyelet the ribbon comes. Look at it from any side and it will look shiny and straight and very pretty. Right. So this is our last pair, and the last pair of eyelets we'll use for tying off. Okay, there we go. Now that we've got down to our last pair of eyelets, this is the time that we want to be doing whatever tightening we need. So there we are. Start from the top, pulling in by pair right down to the bottom until you get the tightness you want. And because we sorted out all of those flat crossovers earlier, now when we've pulled it tight, they're still as flat as they were before. So now that we've got the tightness that we want in the body, we take our remaining ribbon and make a nice bow at the bottom. And the way to make a flat looking bow that doesn't appear to have got knotted or folded over itself is to make sure that when you're tying the ribbon you've kept the lace flat at all times and you're not twisting it as it goes through. So tie that gently there, and the nice thing about this is that the knot then sits in between each side of the corset, so there won't be any ruffle on the top to be seen at all. Now as you can see, we've got quite a lot too much ribbon left over here. That's to allow you to lace it freely. So once you've done your corset up and you've decided the right length for your wearer, you can cut the ribbons off using a pair of seamstress's scissors, diagonally ideally, because that will mean that it's much easier to get through the eyelets in future, and usually with the tails slightly longer than the bottom of the bow. And there you have it, you're done. Well done.